to secondhand blasters. This is Normatico here. And you know what? Those things that Fate has a funny way of playing us an interesting deck of cards. So last night, my Nerf Modulus Regulator, a blaster that I did not get a chance to actually review for the channel, but did have for quite some time, actually had done some paint modifications to it, if you will. It kind of died on me. And when I say died, it really died. I tried to actually do a battery upgrade on it, and I fried out the motors completely. The wiring itself was just a big mess, and honestly, given how old the blaster was, I wasn't about to spend the time trying to fix it. Not to mention the motors also went. So, of those things, though, that today, actually, I woke up to a package delivery, something that I had ordered and I had been looking forward to. A blaster that Dart Zone had released last month, however, had to recall and actually stop launching because of issues that had existed. They said that they were going to try to fix those issues and get them right back out again. They were estimating a time of October, but mine actually arrived this morning, and I wanted to share it with you all today. I am talking about the Dart Zone Max Omnia Blaster. The Omnia itself, I mentioned the regulator because it does supposedly have 3 modes of fire like the regulator did. So I am really excited. I lost the Modulus brand only to get a almost Pro Series blaster that does the exact same thing, and I'm all about that. As you can see, I'm not the only one who's excited because we have Isis and Odie that are back there that are super excited for me also. I'm going to actually have to take them out one of these days. Anyways, we're going to actually go ahead and unbox this. I have not even done anything with this box yet because I want to do it on film in front of all of you. So we're going to go ahead and change views. I'm actually going to go ahead and take this out of the box. We're going to see what is inside this blaster. The box itself, though, it is the traditional Dart Zone box. You know, actually, I should say it's the traditional coloring from a Dart Zone Max box. However, the major difference that I've seen is that it does not flip open like a lot of the other Dart Zone boxes do. So I'm curious to see what's inside. All right, so just looking at the box itself, it does say it comes with 30 of the mini darts. It does come with a 7.4 volt lithium-ion rechargeable battery. So good, it's a LiPo. And yeah, so let's go ahead and see what we got here. 125 feet up to, says as far as 7 darts per second on full auto mode. Let's let me grab something here so we can get this box opened up here. Just got one little sliver of tape on this side. Well, that's pretty neat. All right. Have our instructions. Who reads these? And we got the blaster, we got our sight, we have glasses, we have 2 magazines. Oh, nice. Got a little brochure about darts. That's always nice to see. One thing I will say that it's kind of funny that they actually have these here. Dart Zone no longer makes those. I don't know why they include this in here. I have actually reached out to Dart Zone, and they're just saying, hey, you have to buy the mini ones. You can't buy the standard length ones, which is kind of phooey, but, you know, whatever. Go to Etsy. You can find people that make them. Now, let's take a look at what else we got here. It doesn't use plastic-free stuff, but that's okay. Given what you pay for this blaster itself, I wouldn't expect them to go cheap. Well, I see the charger here. I wonder if the battery's already inside the blaster. Oh, there's one more here. So, and one more down here. They really secured this blaster down here. So that's the blaster. Decent size. You have a detachable stock. So, all right. Set this to the side and get everything else out of here. trays. All right, so we have our charging cable here, which is USB. That's kind of nice. And now let's take a look here, because obviously we're going to have to charge the battery. I'm assuming the battery's in here. And there's the battery. You know, it's really nice that all of these companies are finally catching up and doing what the community has been doing for a long time, and that is using these instead of standard batteries. So I'm going to go ahead and actually get this thing to charge, and I'm going to put the blaster together, and I'll be right back. All right, well, while I wait a couple of hours for that LiPo battery to actually charge, I want to go ahead and talk about this blaster really quick. So as you did see, it does come with the two sights. This one is a flip-up sight, very similar to what they offered with the Nexus Pro. Yeah, I mean, targeting with that, it's okay. I'm actually probably going to get a upgrade attachment for this Picatinny rail, so I could probably use some of my Nerf branded sights. That is one thing that Hasbro did really well, especially with the Modular series. When it came to some of their sights, I'm a real big fan of that Recon scope. The day-night scope is just, it's really cool. So I might actually purchase one of those adapters from Etsy. The blaster itself, it does come with a little jam door here. This is a tiny little jam door, and it's kind of a chore to get open, not gonna lie. But once you do open it, it is tiny. You know, it does say that you should actually use tweezers or a flathead screwdriver to clear the jam. That is a very small jam door, but you are firing the mini darts here. You don't have to worry about clearing anything out major. Of course, here is the standard rev trigger, which does have a pretty decent feedback to it. There is the mag release, which is that's really springy, actually. I like that. And of course, the standard trigger that you pull to launch the darts. One thing I did notice is it does not have the actual Dart Zone logo on the trigger, which is kind of surprising. Given that this is going to be one of their high-end models for the Max line, I would expect them to actually have the Dart Zone trigger there. So there's that. The color schemes, of course, you get these off-white with red and gray. It looks really nice, really sharp. You can paint it if you want. From what I can tell, these are individualized pieces of plastic, and it is not recycled plastic, which is really nice. This is virgin plastic. So all of these should come out. I know that when I took apart the battery cover, there was actually another screw inside for you to take out this little striping, which is kind of cool. If you're going to be painting it, go for it. I think that that's really neat. So the magazines themselves, they do hold 15 darts. I want to actually draw attention to this because I noticed this also with the Dart Zone Mark III. It does say that it can load up to 15 rounds, and it's rated for 15 rounds, but there is a lot of spring space there. And I will tell you from experience, stick to the 15. You can load possibly 18 in here. I would stick with the 15 only because then you're going to run into the smushed dart effect. Nobody wants that. So you want your darts to perform perfectly. Even though it can hold 18, it should max out at 15 for performance reasons. Loading the magazine. You are ready to go. Unloading. Oh, that's nice. That's very nice. That slides right out. That's cool. I like that. Slides in, slides out, slides in. All right. That's impressive. That is a lot better than what I've seen in other blasters where you actually have to not only hold this down, but then you have to pull for it to go out. So as long as you are being very careful, you can just go ahead and fire empty magazine and then keep on going. The one thing I will notice about the stock is that there is no place here for you to actually hold your extra magazine. It is just a standard stock. You can possibly get an aftermarket stock on here if they create one to hold these little magazines. The question is whether or not I can hold a Talon. I've been told that yes, you can do Talon mags in here. So yeah, this is good. No, it does not shoot standard length darts. So if you are not an adopter of mini darts, this is not a blaster for you, because you are not going to be able to get the standard length darts in here without doing some major modification to the magwell as well as the push rod, because I'm assuming that the pushing rod, it is designed for mini darts only. So if you want to do something like that, you're going to have to open it up and do a major modification. Please, if you do so, I encourage you to make a video of you doing that, because I would like to see it. Not that I'm going to do it, but I like to learn about these things. Now, other than that, I think we are going to be taking it out to the chrono and the range to fire it, because I want to see how this performs. But first, 3 modes of fire. Let me show you the switch. 1, 2, 3, and then off. So 1, 2, 3, of course, they could have done a little bit better job of describing what 1, 2, and 3 are, because, for example, if you lose your instruction manual, you are not going to know what those mean without actually trying it. So if it works the way I think it does, 1 should be single fire, 2 should be burst fire, 3 is straight up automatic firing. It does say that you can shoot up to 7 darts per second, which is comparable to the Nerf Ultra Speed, which, hey, that'll be pretty cool if we can do that. The one thing that I will say though, and I don't like about shooting that many darts in 1 second, is that you run out of darts really fast. However, and Hasbro should take a lesson from this, because they did it with the regulator, Darts does it with the Omnia, but Hasbro failed to do that with the Ultra Speed. This switch makes all the difference in the world, because sometimes you want to unload 7 darts in a second, other times you don't. So it's a simple modification. Would it have cost more to do so? Probably, but guess what? People are already paying $75 for an Ultra Speed. That's what you asked for it originally. So what's an extra $5 going to be in materials? Now, I'm actually going to go ahead and test now to see if these are interchangeable with other mini dart cartridges. Of course, before we get to the chrono test, I want to test out the multiple magazine theory that I just presented. So I have a couple of mini dart magazines here. I have the one from the Mark III. I want to say this is from the Adventure Force Nexus Pro, and this one is from the Adventure Force Tactical, the Jurassic Park blaster. So slipping them in, let's take a look here. Whoops, that one fits. That one fits. That one has a better fit. So far it looks like all of them fit. Now here is the question. Will this fit inside of the adapters? Of course, I don't see why not, but that works. That works. I know some of you are probably wondering, why would I have to test that? After my experience with the X-Shot Pro Long Shot, its adapter, and seeing that these adapters do not work inside the X-Shot Pro, I want to test it, because cross-compatibility is key these days. And it doesn't always mean that everything's going to be cross-compatible with everything. So a blaster like this, which has that rapid fire, I want to make sure that these magazines can work with other blasters, mainly because of the fact that we had that experience with the Nerf Ultra Speed, that you could find the blaster, but you don't have extra magazines. So there's that. Good news is Dart Zone has made it so that that is not a problem. The only difference between this magazine and this magazine is the coloring and this engraving on the bottom, this really cool design. So other than that, it's the same deal. The blaster has one flaw, and that is that this is the only point where you can attach a sling. Of course, you could probably get a modification so that you get a little ring up here, and they do sell those. You could try to attach something back here, but that can come off easily. So this, however, is made with enough space that you can do like a little, even a piece of leather with a ring will cause enough of an attachment point for people to use. And they actually do sell those. You can find those on Temu, you can find them on Etsy, you can find them pretty much anywhere. So, yeah. I'm sorry. I'm impatient. I want to play with this blaster really fast, but yeah, no. I'm sorry. I'm a little bit impatient. The 2-hour waiting game is not for me. I kind of wish that they had the option that I have seen in a couple of blasters where you can actually switch power systems. You can either go from a LiPo or you can use standard batteries. But we don't always get what we want. So it is a nice and sunny day out here in Ohio. We are out at the range with the Omnia Pro that is part of the Dart Zone Max line. So one of those things I will say, it's kind of weird for it to be called the Omnia Pro, but still be a Dart Zone Max. So we're going to actually do quite a few different shots here. I have a couple of rounds of the Dart Zone Ruby darts, as well as some of the Embers that I want to go ahead and actually run down the range and see just how well this blaster performs. We're going to test out all 3 of the different firing modes with singles, burst fire, and the barrage of 7 shots per second, the full auto. So let's go ahead and start off with the single shots. Angle shot. I'm going to be doing a lot of walking today. Straight shot. Switching to burst mode. Wind is starting to pick up and blow to my right. Straight shot. Not bad. Now, we're going to go ahead and actually switch to the full auto mode now. I'm going to reload a completely different magazine and see what the spread is like. Impressive. Now up next, we're going to go ahead and switch out to the Ember darts. We're going to run the same thing one more time. The reason that I'm doing the Ember darts as opposed to just sticking with the rubies is mainly because this is a Walmart exclusive, and they don't sell the ruby darts at Walmart. So if you're going to replace the ones that you have stock, you're going to have to actually get the Ember darts. So let's start off with the test, shall we? Looks like I'm going to be taking another long walk, and stay tuned for the actual readings in the pitch graph. Alright, so I am back from putting the Dart Zone Omnia through her paces. This is my final thoughts regarding this blaster. First of all, let me just look at this box real quick. Up to 125 feet is what it says right there. The distance test showed that that was a lie. Up to 125 feet is wrong. Over 125 feet is what it should say. So, Dart Zone, you have under-promised and over-delivered, which is something that everyone likes. This is a good blaster. The Omnia Pro, I will say, it does not belong in the Max series. This is easily part of the Pro line and something that they should have done in the first place. It even says it in the name, Omnia Pro. You know, what else is there to say? Is this a great blaster for a beginner? Absolutely not, no. With the 160-foot range and the 155 feet per second that you can get with this blaster, according to the chronograph, I would say that this is not a good blaster for anyone that is sub-teenage years. G-Rex will not be playing with this one, let's just put it that way. Whether or not you want to give it to a younger child, that is entirely up to you. Me, as a parent, I recommend against it because of the fact that they are not going to be able to control the temptation of wanting to shoot their little brothers or another child with this. And if someone's not wearing eye protection, I hate to sound like an old movie, but you're going to shoot your eye out, kid. Now, the price point, $89.99 on Walmart. It is a Walmart online-only blaster. You cannot find this at other stores right now. So, yes, it is worth that price. Now, that's for me to say. For you, on the other hand, whether or not it fits in your budget, that's entirely up to you. It is a steep price for what is essentially a toy. However, here's what you got to look at. When you compare this blaster, you have to compare it to 3 other blasters. You have the Modulus Regulator, you have the Dart Zone Pro Mark III, and then you have the Nerf Ultra Speed. So when you compare those 3 blasters with this one, here's what you get. The Regulator does what this blaster did, which is offering you the mode to switch from single fire, burst fire, and unload full auto. Is that a good thing to do? Absolutely. I like the option to unload if I need to. I like the option to restrict to just single fire, and the burst fire is fun as well. Now, the Ultra Speed gives you the 7 darts per second, and yes, this one does get 7 darts per second. The problem with the Ultra Speed, though, is that you only have those 2 magazines, and that is it. Because of the fact that they are proprietary magazines, you are stuck with what you have. You can't swap out other magazines. This blaster does. This blaster, you can swap out whatever mini dart magazines you want. I do not happen to have any of the Worker Talon magazines to go ahead and try. However, I do not see why they would not fit in here, seeing as almost every blaster that Dart Zone makes uses those Talon magazines as well. In regards to the other blaster that I had mentioned, the Dart Zone blaster, you are looking at a price point of $129.99 at Target versus $89.99 at Walmart. Of course, if you are able to find it for the $59.99 price on Amazon, I humbly recommend purchasing it because that is a great price for a great blaster. The difference between the two blasters is that one is a Pro Series, one is part of their Max Series. One comes with bamboo darts that are both standard length and mini length. The other one just uses the mini darts. Both come with 2 magazines. One goes full auto and fires about 4 darts in a second. The other one does 7 darts in a second. So the Pro line, it is $30 less than this one. You don't get the option to do burst fire. However, if you can control your trigger, go for it. The Pro line does perform pretty spectacularly when you upgrade the batteries, like what I did. That is when you get the 180, 186, sometimes 190 feet per second ranges on the chronograph, and you actually get some pretty far distance with it as well. The scope on that one is pretty amazing. This one, you get those flip-up sights that are kind of generic. I've seen them before. It's kind of like what you find on the actual Nexus Pro. They're not bad, but they're nothing to write home about. Whether or not the $30 extra that you pay for this blaster compared to Amazon is worth it to you, that's entirely up to the full auto mode. If you're going into a situation where you want to shoot 7 darts per second, hey, go with the Omnia. It's great. And straight out the bat with the 2S LiPo, it's fantastic. That means that this one has a mod potential to it that you can actually upgrade the motors and make it shoot even better. Which if you can do that one, please make a video of it. I want to see it. Now, the Dart Zone Pro Mark III, I mean, it's good. It's a little heavy compared to this blaster. This blaster is much lighter. So you choose which one you want. I would definitely take this one over the Ultra Speed any day of the week because they are both very similar in price point. Though now I believe you can find an Ultra Speed for about $40. So that's much better than it used to be. But again, I still go with this one because of the fact that you're still stuck with just 2 magazines versus this one that you have interchangeable magazines with. The only downside that I see with this particular blaster is the jam door. It is very small. So if you have to clear a jam out, it's going to take some time because you're going to have to get some tweezers or a screwdriver and do this. Yeah, you can fit a finger in here, but it's a tight fit. So that's the only downside that I see with this actual blaster. Everything else is no big deal. Now, regarding the accuracy claims that people said when the blaster was first released in August, I'm going to tell you right now, I did not test it for long distance accuracy. So I do not know if they corrected it or not regarding that downward curve that people said that they got. I did not see it whatsoever on the range test, and on my indoor accuracy test, it was very accurate. So there we go. Now, if anybody wants to go out there and test a long distance accuracy test on this one, please make a video of it because I'd like to see how it performs. Again, I don't have target dummies set up in that range that I use, so I just have to go by where I'm aiming and where it falls. And I can tell you that the wind today was a little bit heavy, and even still, the darts all landed within approximate 5 feet of each other. So when you're looking at 150 feet away and there's only a 5-foot spread, that's pretty accurate, especially when you're looking at about 3-mile-an-hour winds. So anything could have happened at that point. The single shots, they definitely landed where they were aiming at, which is awesome. Now, up next, I will tell you, this is going to be an interesting competition with the Strife X. The Strife X, $120. Nerf is finally entering the Pro line. I am curious to see what their AccuStrike mini darts are going to look like. I hope that they could actually sell those just in bulk instead of having to get them only with the blaster. I would like to actually load some of those up and compare those to the Dart Zone mini rubies here. The Ember Strike darts, they actually performed pretty well. Obviously, they did not go as far as the rubies did. However, when it came to the straight shots, brass tacks, ruby versus embers, when you're aiming straight, they got the same distance. Angled shot, they did not go as far. So I cannot explain the discrepancy between those two readings. However, you're getting accuracy no matter what. I want to see how the AccuStrike darts perform. And I don't want to have to spend $120 for this. That's not my idea of a good time. Yeah. Not for essentially a Strife, which is just doing what everyone in the modding community has been doing for the past 10 years. Welcome to the party, Hasbro. You are now the Internet Explorer of blasters. Anyways, I want to thank you all for watching Secondhand Blasters. I do recommend the Omnia. Keep on blasting.